Hey, welcome to Community Group Night in December. We're so glad you're here. We're just days away from Christmas, and it has me thinking, what's your favorite part about Christmas? Why don't you take a moment, just turn to the person beside you, find out and ask, and then we'll be back in a second. Perfect. I'm so glad you found out what their favorite part of Christmas is. So last week we were at the summit. We talked about this reality that in the created order, there's two dimensions, the seen world and the unseen world, heaven and earth. It's not that heaven is like far off in the cosmos somewhere, but it is right here, right now, on the other side of a veil, a very thin veil. And we see things on the earthly dimension, but there's two realities happening. Last week, we looked at the nativity scene on both sides of the veil. Now, on one side, on the earthly side, we're very familiar with a child and Mary and Joseph, an angel, Bethlehem, a census, shepherds, and wise men. And on the other side of the veil, we see a woman, a baby boy, child, a furious red dragon who's the ancient one called Satan. There's an angel and a battle and fallen angels that we now know as demons. Now, this is not your typical Christmas story and nativity scene. It's not cozy, or in the words of Pastor Anita, cutesy. It's not cozy nor cutesy. Let us not confuse culture with scripture. The nativity scene cannot be domesticated into a cozy, feel-good story, when in reality it is this war scene with a delusional, enraged, monstrous beast described as this red dragon. And so let's go back to Revelation 12 and let's read it and see what's happening on the heavenly dimension. A great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet and a crown of 12 stars on her head. She was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. Then another sign appeared in heaven, an enormous red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns on its head. Its tail swept a third of the stars out of the sky and flung them to the earth. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth, so that it might devour her child the moment he was born. She gave birth to a son, a male child, who will rule the nations with an iron scepter, and her child was snatched up to God and to his throne. The woman fled into the wilderness to a place prepared for her by God, where she might be taken care of for 1,260 days. Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, the ancient serpent called the devil, or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. Then I heard a loud voice in heaven say, "Now have come the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God, and the authority of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brothers and sisters who accuses them before our God day and night, he has been hurled down. They triumphed over him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They did not love their life so much as to shrink from death. Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and you who dwell in them. But woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has gone down to you. He is filled with fury, because he knows that his time is short." When the dragon saw that he had been hurled to the earth, he pursued the woman who had given birth to the male child. The woman was given the 2 wings of a great eagle, so that she might fly to the place prepared for her in the wilderness, where she would be taken care of for a time, times a half a time, out of the serpent's reach. Then from his mouth the serpent spewed water like a river, to overtake the woman and sweep her away with the torrent. But the earth helped the woman by opening its mouth and swallowing the river that the dragon had spewed out of its mouth. Then the dragon was enraged at the woman and went off to wage war against the rest of her offspring, those who keep God's commands and hold fast to their testimony about Jesus. The nativity scene in the earthly dimension and the nativity scene in the heavenly dimension. Here we see two signs in the heavenly dimension. We see a woman, but on the earthly dimension, we know that to be Mary. Then here we see a red dragon, and in the earthly dimension, we know that to be Satan. Two signs. Signs are used to point to something, right? You see a road sign, it's pointing to something. And here we have two signs pointing to the reality of a birth of the prophesied Messiah. A war that started in heaven will be finished on earth. What was started here is going to finish there. Here's the Christmas story from the heavenly side. There's a cosmic war being fought in the heavens. There's this dragon and a woman who are signs pointing to another reality, a male child who would be born. For unto us a child is born. Now his birth fulfilling 400 prophecies of a coming Messiah. And that Messiah is here. That Messiah is now resurrected, and that Messiah now reigns. A child who would be king. Dale Johnson puts it this way. He says, the war in heaven here, the war in heaven is won in an event on earth. The birth of the child on earth. The war is won through the life of the child. The war is won through the preaching and teaching and healing ministry of the child. The war is won through the crucifixion of the child. The war is won through the resurrection of the child. The war is won through the ascension of the child on the throne. A war has been won for heaven on earth. So heaven can then say with a loud voice, now the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ have come. For the accuser of our brothers and sisters has been thrown down. Okay, so that's a lot, and it's a lot going on. But it begs the question, we have victory, Jesus is victorious, the devil's been thrown down. But it leaves us with this question. So why are bad things still happening? What is really going on? There is one who has been hurled to the earth who is ferociously mad. Verse 17 says it this way, the dragon was enraged at the woman and went off to wage war with her offspring. Then the question is, well, who's her offspring? Chapter 12 tells us it's anyone who confesses Jesus. So if you're in the room tonight and you confess Jesus, friends, he has waged war with you. And his rampage on the earth is not a sign of Satan's victory, but actually his defeat. Friends, Satan has waged war with you and I. But how? How is he waging war? What is he doing? What are his tactics and schemes? Well, the first one is this. John says that the dragon is an accuser. In Hebrew, the word for Satan actually means accuser. Satan's game is slander and accusation, going around whispering in the ears of people that you're not worthy of love. He says the things that he knows will pull you from the heart of the Father. It's also a warning to us, though, not to get caught up in this game, to get caught up in the accusation and slanders, to get caught up in the dragon's game. The second way he does it, he wages war, is this. He is a deceiver. In fact, he has deceived himself, and he deceives the world. Jesus calls him the father of lies. And when he is thrown down, he comes to the garden, and what does he do? He whispers deceit and deception into the ear of Eve, and by doing so brings the downfall of humanity through the entering of sin. Now, when we understand how Satan is trying to wreak havoc in the world, when we see the state of the world, we understand it's not simply, it's just a difference of opinion, it's left or right, but we can actually see things for what they actually are. That it's actually a cosmic war that has come to earth, and the deception of culture and society. He has deceived every age. We see it through the idol of worship from ancient times to the idol worship of our time. He has deceived us with lies, distorting truth and distorting creation. Let's just look at the world around us. How deceived are they? And they call it just their opinion. It's not your opinion, but deception. I heard it put this way recently. If Satan could kill God, he would, but he can't. Remember, Revelation 12 says he is not strong enough. So what does he do? He tries to kill the thing closest to God's heart, which is people. He'll even try to get them when they're still in the womb. It's how Satan perverts God's goodness. Let's look at communion. Jesus says, this is my body broken for you, my body so that you can have life. We look at a world deceived saying the same thing, but it's deceived, it's perverted. Jesus' body broken so that you can have life, and we have a group of people saying, this is my body and my choice, and with that, they take life. It perverts the words of Jesus. It's deception in culture, it's deception in society, it's Satan. Even to those who are so deceived not to be open to the gospel of Jesus Christ. It's why Devin preached at the summit last month. He said, oh, to our generation that is sleeping, a sleeping generation, would they not come awake to the realities of Jesus, that they would not be deceived by the devil? One brings death, the other died to conquer death. One speaks truth, the other speaks lies. And the third way that the devil schemes is he tries to kill. He seeks to kill. He is red. He's the red dragon, the color of blood. His game is threats of death. You will die if you follow God. You will suffer if you follow God. He has come at the people of God with lies. John puts it this way in verse 15. The serpent poured out water like a river out of his mouth after the woman, so that he might cause her to be swept away with the flood. Now out of his mouth of the dragon comes accusations and deceit and threats. But the earth opened up its mouth and devoured the flood. It echoes and is a throwback to the story of Exodus, the story where the people of God flee past the great sea and the earth closes its mouth around Pharaoh's army as it passes through the sea. So how do we overcome? He's coming at us, accusations, deceptions, and killing. How do we overcome? What do we do? This is what it says in chapter 12. It says, they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. It's the blood of the Lamb that covers our sins, sets us free from the bondage of sin and ultimately death. It's a truth that counters his lies and deception. And second, by the word of our testimony. What is a testimony? Testimony is this. It's evidence or proof provided by the existence or appearance of something. It is to provide an account that is truth. So it's like this. If you got called to give a testimony at court, you are called to provide a truthful account of events. And so you overcome the deception, lies, and threats of the enemy by declaring truth through the word of your testimony. What do? We declare the gospel to the devil. When he tries to whisper in your ear, as he did to Eve in the garden with deception, accusations in order to kill and destroy, you counter his words with the gospel. When he says you're not loved, you declare against his deception, I am loved enough that God himself would come for me. You're not good enough. You're right, I'm not. But the one who has made me right by adoption through his son. Look, my hope is that we would train a generation of people to be aware of what is really going on. So when we live in the world, we're doing our daily life, and we see culture and society, we see what is really happening. You would know when it is the one who is masquerading as light, what is demonic, and what is of God. How to stand against Satan. I pray that this Christmas would stir awe and wonder in us afresh, not only because of the earthly dimension narrative, not just because of what's happening in the earthly dimension, but holistically for the entirety of the narrative and Christmas story, what's happening in the earthly dimension, what's happening here in the heavenly dimension. That Christmas would remind us of the goodness of God to save humanity through the birth of a child. May you be emboldened by the story that is Christmas. The battle cry that is the Father sending the Son to complete on earth what began in heaven. From the Messiah's first cry to his final decree, it is finished.